well, you're with your position, like you're a problem solver. So this is you come in after everything's post production.
After things have been shot, yeah.
And with my experience, and I've been on a couple sets where one in particular is just like, oh, we'll fix it in post. Like how
Yeah.
often is that an option for you?
Sure. I mean, I especially on films with a high budget, that's always an option for them.
Okay.
Because the fact that basically as a visual effects artist, at this point we can do anything, right? So that frees up the director to change their mind. If the director suddenly decides, like, she's like, oh, I think the camera, like, we plan to have the camera here, now let's have the camera here. Is that a problem? And if you have enough money, it's not a problem.
Right.
Because, like, if whatever we're looking at, now we're looking at something in the background that's different. If now you're, like, off of the part that's been dressed, if it's, a fake set and the set doesn't go far enough, we can recreate what should be there, or just create what should be there in the background and cut the people out and make their edges nice and integrate it. So it really does allow a director to be more creative and or lazy and plan less if they want. They don't have to plan quite so much, like, oh, let's just do this. And we can fix it in post. So in a way, fix it in post creates more work for us, right? So that keeps us going. But what we like doing best is taking something that looks cool and making it even better.
Right.
As opposed to taking something wrong and making it believable. But a lot of what we do becomes, like, you wouldn't even know, because there are so many effects that are being done now where you'd have no clue that it would be an effect, because we just make something look completely convincing. Like, you might see 20 effects and, like, sure, if this is going to suddenly appear between us and float in the air, it's a visual effect. But, like, if you and I were actually on a beach and not here, you wouldn't know because it looks real.
Right.
Right. So a lot of effects get by that people have no clue were visual effects.
Because I mean, I remember you mentioning, like, the seam lines, the making sure, like, when you put things in. But and you mentioned before, you're pretty much a big fan of practical effects.
Oh, love them.
And when do you normally get a chance to apply that skill?
So when I get to do that, it's extra fun because I'm not just sitting behind a computer,
True.
Right? Most of the time for compositing, we're sitting behind a computer, drawing on a tablet, and using a mouse, using a tablet, layering stuff. But if there's an element that needs to be in the footage that doesn't exist, and shooting it for real and not recreating it CG is more efficient than if it's less expensive, then that becomes an option. And that's what I love doing. Like, there was a shot of a woman picking up a teapot that was on a stove that's actually lit. And she's, like, in a diluted state of mind. So she's, like, supposed to ignore the fire on her hand. So they shot her picking up a teapot with no fire turned on underneath. And I had to make that fire element.
Right.
So I can't remember why, but I happened to have a fake prop hand. So I went to my stove. I took off the grating, right? So I just have the fire coming up. I put some black duvetine behind it so that I'd have a uniform dark background. Oh, duvetine is it's a material like a shirt, but duvetine has the texture it has, it's very, like a very soft fiber.
Okay.
And so it absorbs light. Like there's no reflection off of duvetine.
Okay.
So you're just putting a non-reflective surface behind the fire so that it'll be easy to key the fire off of the background, right? And then I'm taking this fake hand and I'm putting it into the fire to get the fire interaction around the hand. And so I'm just shooting it in my kitchen. And then I would put that into the movie. I believe it was a TV movie for Apple Plus that The Changeling was the name of the movie. So I put the fire in, but I noticed that with a real object going into the fire, it really didn't interact as much as I thought it would. It was sort of weak. Like the reality would not show in the movie as well what they wanted to see. They wanted the fire more disturbed by the hand as it goes in. I knew they would want that. They'd be like, well, why? You didn't even do anything, even though this is what really happened.
Right.
So then I reshot it where I got a straw and I would blow on the fire to disturb the fire a little bit. And then that's the element I ended up using, timing it with the woman's real hand going in and coming out again.
Nice.
To make that fire element. So that's an area where we could have done a simulation of fire, but you'd have so many more iterations and so much more feedback. When they know it's an element that you've shot, there's a certain level of acceptance of, oh, this is real fire. This is what real fire is doing. I like it. You know?